A Description of a City Shower by Jonathan Swift, 1667 to 1745. Careful observers may foretell the hour, by sure prognostics when to dread a shower. While rain depends, the pensive cat gives o'er her frolics and pursues her tail no more. Returning home at night, you'll find the sink strike your offended sense with double stink. If you be wise, then go not far to dine. You'll spend in coach hire more than save in wine. A coming shower your shooting corns presage, old aches throb, your hollow tooth will rage. Sauntering in coffeehouse is Dulman seen, he damns the climate and complains of spleen, while the south rising with dabbled wings, a sable cloud athwart the welkin flings, that swilled more liquor than it could contain, and like a drunkard gives it up again. Brisk Susan whips her linen from the rope, while the first drizzling shower is borne aslope. Such is that sprinkling which some careless queen flits on you from her mop, but not so clean. You fly, invoke the gods, then turning stop to rail. She singing, still whirls on her mop, not yet the dust had shunned the unequal strife, but aided by the wind fought still for life, and wafted with its foe by violent gust. 'Twas doubtful which was rain and which was dust. Ah, where must needy poet seek for aid, when dust and rain at once his coat invade? Sole coach, where dust cemented by the rain erects the nap and leaves a mingled stain. Now in contiguous drops the flood comes down, threatening with deluge this devoted town. To shops in crowds the draggled females fly, pretend to cheapen goods, but nothing buy. The Templar spruce, while every spouts a broach, stays till 'tis fair, yet seems to call a coach. The tucked up sempstress walks with hasty strides, while seams run down her oiled umbrella's sides. Here various kinds, by various fortunes led, commence acquaintance underneath a shed. Triumphant Tories and desponding Whigs forget their feuds and join to save their wigs. Boxed in a chair the beau impatient sits, while spouts run clattering o'er the roof by fits. And ever and anon with frightful din the leather sounds. He trembles from within, so when Troy chairmen bore the wooden steed, pregnant with Greeks, impatient to be freed, those bully Greeks, who as the moderns do, instead of paying chairmen, run them through. Laocoon struck the outside with his spear, and each imprisoned hero quaked for fear. Now from all parts the swelling kennels flow, and bear their trophies with them as they go. Filth of all hues and odours seem to tell what street they sailed from by their sight and smell. They, as each torrent drives with rapid force from Smithfield or St. Pulchre's, shape their course, and in huge confluence joined at Snow Hill Ridge, fall from the conduit prone to Holborn Bridge, sweeping from butchers' stalls, dung, guts and blood, drowned puppies, stinking sprats, all drenched in mud, dead cats and turnip tops come tumbling down the flood. Okay, this is a wonderful description of London by Jonathan Swift. Let's see, Jonathan Swift was born in Dublin. He went to Trinity College Dublin as a university. He's Anglo-Irish. He became the Dean of St Patrick's Cathedral in Dublin, but he's an Anglican. It was an Anglican, not a Catholic. And this is describing London when there is a shower of rain, and Swift is well known for his satire, and there are lots of this poem is full of little drawings or little scenes of different people. So careful observers may foretell the hour by sure prognostics when to dread a shower. So if you're careful, you'll know when it's going to rain. You're going to be able to predict this, prognosticate it by certain things. When rain depends, when rain is depending, when rain is coming, the pensive cat gives o'er her frolics and pursues her tail no more. So the cat stops jumping about, it stops chasing its tail and doing things. It stops being playful. Returning home at night, you'll find the sink strike your offended sense with double stink. Okay, the sink is the cesspool. This is where the dirty water goes, where it's where water is drained from the house or from the area. And this cesspool, it smells even worse than it normally does. Because it is full of human waste, of rotting things. The cesspool is a pretty horrid place, but it smells even worse. If you be wise, then go not far to dine. You'll spend in coach hire more than save in wine. So if you're smart and you want to go out to dinner, don't go very far from your house, because if you do, you're going to have to spend a lot of money getting a coach back home, and that will cost you more than you might save by going to a place with cheap wine that's a long distance away. A coming shower, your shooting corns presage. So corns are painful areas on your toes, and you'll find that these painful areas on your toes begin to hurt when it's going to rain. Old aches throb, so old pains hurt, and your hollow tooth will rage. Sauntering in coffeehouses, Dulman seen. He damns the climate and complains of spleen. So I think Dulman is a boring person who you always find in the coffee houses. And in the coffee houses, he's walking around and he's condemning the climate and complaining that his spleen, one of his organs, hurts. The spleen is normally talked about with producing bile. Meanwhile the south, rising with dabbled wings, a sable cloud athwart the welkin flings. So if you look to the south, you will see a grey-brown cloud across the welkin. The welkin is the sky, the sky above your head. So there'll be a brown-grey cloud above your head that swilled more liquor than it could contain, and like a drunkard gives it up again. And he's here. This is a lovely simile. This cloud is like a drunkard who's drunk too much alcohol and then vomits the alcohol back out. Yeah, a drunkard who's drunk more alcohol than he can hold, and then he vomits it up. Brisk Susan whips her linen from the rope, while the first drizzling shower is born aslope. So Susan, I think she's a washer lady. She takes her clothes, the clothes that were drying on the clothesline, and this is while the first little shower appears. And notice a slope at an angle, so the rain's coming down, but it's being blown by the wind as well. Such is the sprinkling which some careless queen flirts on you from her mop, but not so clean. So this sprinkling of water is the same as the sprinkling of some careless woman, a queen. This could be a woman of ill repute, a prostitute. So this is almost like the water that a prostitute throws on you from her mop, but not so clean. But it's not as clean. It's even dirtier than this woman's mop. So you fly, you run, you start to run home. You invoke the gods, then turning stop to rail, and then you stop and you start to rail, to be angry about getting wet. And she singing still whirls on her mop. Not yet the dust had shunned the unequal strife. So here, I think the queen, the unpleasant woman, the prostitute, she's talking about the rainstorm, and the rainstorm is still singing, and it's putting more and more water from the mop from the sky. But this mop is also full of dust, so you're getting covered in dust and water at the same time. Not yet the dust had shunned the unequal strife, but aided by the wind fought still for life. So the storm, the water is coming down, and the wind is blowing the water onto you, and the dust, there's dust as well, which is being blown onto you and wafted with its foe by violent gusts. So with a violent gust of wind, both the wind and the rain, the rain and the dust, 'twas doubtful which was rain and which was dust. So you get completely covered in a mixture of rain and dust. You're completely dirty. Ah, where must needy poet seek for aid when dust and rain at once his coat invade? So where does a poet in need, who's in need of somewhere safe, where does he go when he's completely covered in dust and rain at the same time? Sole coat, where dust cemented by the rain erects the nap and leaves a mingled stain. So this is the only coat the poet has, and it's covered in dust and made hard by rain, and this erects the nap. Let's see, the nap, the surface of the cloth has a nap which can stand up. So the nap is made to stand up, because normally the nap is flat, and it's made to stand up, and it's cemented, so it makes it hard. It makes his coat hard and uncomfortable, and leaves a stain, a dirty stain, from the mingling of the dust and the rain. Now in contiguous drops the flood comes down, threatening with deluge this devoted town. And now the rain begins to fall really hard, and it's going to deluge, it's going to flood completely this town. To shops in crowds the draggled females fly, pretend to cheapen goods but nothing buy. So all of the women rush off in crowds to the shops. They rush into shops and they pretend to bargain for goods. They pretend to ask the prices of things, but they don't buy anything. They just want to stay out of the rain. Yeah, and they need an excuse to be in the shops. The Templar spruce. So this is a Templar. This is a mason. And he's very, very elegantly dressed, while every spout's a broach, where water is spouting from everywhere, where water is coming out of all of the spouts over the edges of the roof. He stays until the rain has gone, but he seems to call a coach and go home in the coach anyway. The tucked up sempstress walks with hasty stride. So there's a seamstress. This is a person who sews, and she's walking with big strides, while seams run down her oiled umbrella's side. So she's got the seamstress has an umbrella, and seams. Well, a sempstress, the seamstress, sews seams, and seams of water. Floods of water come off her umbrella. Here various kinds, by various fortunes led, commence acquaintance underneath a shed. So there's a shed, or there's a piece of roof, and people of various fortunes, of various kinds, of all different types, are hiding underneath the roof of a shed. And we've got triumphant Tories and desponding Whigs. So the Tories are the right, are the Conservatives, and the Whigs are what later became the Liberal Party, or the left at that time, but they're considerably right of perhaps today's Conservatives. And the Tories and the Whigs, the left and the right, they forget their feuds and join to save their Whigs. So these people have wigs, and they're trying to save their wigs to keep their wigs out of the rain, because in those days posh people used to wear incredible wigs. Boxed in a chair the beau impatient sits, while spouts run clattering o'er the roof by fits. So I think here we've got somebody's boyfriend, a happy an elegant gentleman, is sitting in a chair, in a sedan chair, one of these chairs that is being carried by porters, and the rain is clattering on the roof of his sedan carriage. And ever and anon with frightful din the leather sounds. So the roof of this is made of leather, and he's out of the rain, but it makes a tremendous sound. He trembles from within, so he's trembling inside his carriage. So when Troy chairman bore the wooden steed, pregnant with Greeks impatient to be freed, those bully Greeks who, as the moderns do, instead of paying chairmen, run them through. Okay, so this is about the Trojan horse, and in this case, this person is being carried by probably two chairmen. These are the people who carry the chair that he sits in. And it's making a simile between this and the Trojan horse, where the people who carried the Trojan horse into Troy, and the Trojan horse had inside it Greeks who wanted to be free. They wanted to get out of their horse and the Trojan horse and begin to act. Those bully Greeks who, as the moderns do, instead of paying chairmen, run them through. So the Greeks in history stabbed all of the people outside, but nowadays this person haze the people to carry them. Laocoon struck the outside with her spear, and each imprisoned hero quaked for fear. So Laocoon was a priest who said, look, be careful of this horse, this Trojan horse. It's full of dangerous Greeks. And he's banging his spear on the Trojan horse in the same way that the rain is banging on this person's sedan chair, his carriage. And when Laocoon struck his spear on the horse, then the Greeks hidden inside the Trojan horse trembled with fear, because they thought somebody was going to know they were there. And another simile. From all parts the swelling kennels flow. The kennels are the gutters where the water flows. So the water is beginning to run down the gutters and bear their trophies with them as they go. And all sorts of things are being carried in the gutter. All of the waste is being carried in the water of the gutter. Filth of all hues and odours seem to tell what street they sailed from by their sight and smell. So there's filthy things of all hues, of all colours and all smells. And the colours and the smells seem to tell you which street they came from. Yeah, by the way they look and by the smell that each one gives. They, as each torrent drives with rapid force from Smithfield or St. Pulchre's, shape their course, and in huge confluence, joined at Snow Hill Ridge, fall from the conduit prone to Holborn Bridge. So the torrents of water are coming down, and they're driving all of the rubbish and dirt and filth from the streets. And there's filth from Smithfield, the meat market, or St. Pulchre, and all of these flows join at Snow Hill and then fall from Holborn Bridge, I think into the river. Sweepings from butchers, so the bits left over from butchers' stalls that they don't want: dung, excrement, guts, intestines and blood, drowned puppies, dead dogs, stinking sprats, rotten little fish, all drenched in mud, all covered in mud. Dead cats and turnip tops, bits of vegetables, come tumbling down the flood. So it sounds really disgusting. Yeah, it's raining really hard, and it cleans the town, but there's all sorts of filth and horrible things in that. And I've heard a suggestion that this is where the idea of the phrase "it's raining cats and dogs" comes from, because this water is sweeping down, and as it sweeps down it's carrying dead animals in the water, and maybe that's where the phrase "raining cats and dogs" comes from. Anyway, enough. If you enjoyed the video, give it a rating, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you soon. Bye for now. A Description of a City Shower by Jonathan Swift.